Good morning, folks. You are here with the Dragon. Special treat, 1986 Honda GL1200 Interstate Goldwing. $59,000 miles on it. To me, that's very, very high mileage. But for a Goldwing, especially of this year, that's considered very low mileage, because these things go about 300,000 miles without any major engine issues. Now, in saying that, they are plagued with the stator problem. They had, stators. I don't know if it's so much the stators or it was the wiring and connections that caused the problem. But regardless, in order to fix the stator, you do have to pull the motor out. But the engineers thought about that, pulling the motor, and made it pretty relatively easy to do so. I say that lightly. If you're skilled and you have the right stuff, it's easy. It's in really good condition, I think. The paint's not too bad. A lot of times they're faded and they just look pink. This one you could tell was garage kept. There's a little bit here and there. There's some fading and there's some scratches and stuff like that, but there's not one broken piece of plastic on this bike. Let's fire this thing up real quick. It runs awesome. I've been riding it the last couple evenings. Kind of getting used to it. We'll talk about that. I got tunes. I never had tunes before. I might put that idle up just a skosh. Yeah, she runs freaking awesome, man. Oh, she gets it down the road. She is really happy on the highway, I tell you that. It's like riding a magic carpet. I've heard people say that. It's true. Just glides, and it's got all the power you need. It's got the clickety-clackly full fuel pump. Blah, spit it out. The faster you go, the louder and more it clickety-clacks. Is yours that clickety-clack loud, guys? Anyway, like I say, so really the only thing this bike actually needs is fork seals. The fork seals were leaking. I mean, they still are, but they're probably out of fluid. And of course the front was soaked in oil. I had to wash all that off. But what I would like to do is fix the fork seals, put some new tires on it, and put some brakes on it, and just ride the crap out of this thing. We got some big trips planned that we're going to do on it. And I'm going to start, a little video series here about this bike. It's a unique situation, one that I wasn't even sure if I should say anything or what, but it makes the story so awesome that I think it'll just bring the whole thing together. So it was a one-owner bike, and I guess the gentleman, I don't know the story. This is like second, third-hand information. I don't know if he was just older or sick, but, he obviously started riding it less and less, and then the gentleman ended up passing away. Unfortunately, it happens. I guess we all get our turn, but so anyway, I guess nobody wanted it in the family or didn't want to ride it. And they kept it because it was his bike for a while, but they didn't want it sitting because the gentleman never let the thing sit and always took really good care of it. So somehow in some event or whatever, they ended up raffling the bike off for some kind of cause. And my friend slash customer was there or what have you, and he went ahead and put in his $20 bid for the raffle to help support the cause, and he ended up winning this thing. Well, he's just not a Goldwing guy. I'm not a Goldwing guy. And he contacted me and said, well, what do you think we could do to it? Make something cool out of it or what? I said, yeah, maybe we'll do something. Well, then we both agreed it was such a nice bike that we didn't want to chop it up. We should try to just keep it in this state as long as we can. And so we talked about that many months ago. Well, then he contacted me, said, hey, I'd really like to get this thing out of my shed. It's taking up all my room. You know, he said, well, you know, what do you think? And I said, sure, you know, let's do something with it. So he said, hey, I tell you what, how about this? How about you service my Kawasaki and I give you the bike and I'll even deliver it? And I said, well, that sounds like a pretty good deal to me. Now, all I saw was a tiny little picture of the back of it in the shed with stuff piled all around it. I had no idea what I was getting into. He said it's a typical 80s bike, you know, it needs work, it's rough, this or that. I was kind of shocked at how well of shape that this bike is in, mechanically and, I mean, just physically, you know, appearance-wise. It's really not that bad. The more I look at it, the better it looks. I could really spiff it up. Now, one thing I probably, like I said, I already mentioned this, I'm sure. I like to get it safe for the road so we can ride it. What I'm thinking about is I can just get by, it's July. If I can get by to the middle of winter without the stator going out and not do the fork seals yet, then this winter I will tear it all down and go ahead and do the stator, fork seals, and probably a lot of other things. And then if you all, you know, if any of you know me and what I do here, then obviously I would get this motor out and I probably freshen. I don't know if I'd even work on the motor internally, but I definitely would freshen up the paint, shine everything up, you know, do the frame, do everything on the way out. And then at that time I would decide if I'm going to repaint it. Different color, you know, make it my own bike and not like every other Goldwing. I'm not sure about what we're going to do there, but what we are going to do is we're going to start doing some videos of it. And we got a lot of plans. Dragonette and I, we're living in the Panhandle of West Virginia right now, and we like to go to the Jersey Shore, down Cape May and Wildwood and all that. So we're going to be making a bunch of trips there. We got some other trips that we're talking about doing. So we're going to start taking this thing. I'd like to take it across the United States. I'd like to go to California. We like Venice Beach. So, all right, guys, sorry about that. Ran out of recording space. Had to delete some old videos. So, got to get this cover here. Saw that on eBay for a couple bucks. That locking cover that goes there. The customer did take this tour pack off of an 87, I believe. And the seats, I guess, you know, this bike that this came off of probably saw a little bit of outside, and there's a little bit of wear here, but we can there's just two little screws to hold that thing on, nut and bolt rather, and replace that, or I can cover it. I mean, that's the least of our worries. Look at this thing. A free 1986 Goldwing that runs great. I got tags on it and everything already. I've been riding it. I got it on Saturday. And Monday morning, I had the tags on it. Today's Tuesday. And we've put about 100 miles on it and just are starting to just absolutely love the thing. I never pictured myself owning a Goldwing. Because like I said, I got a love-hate relationship with Goldwings because I've had to work on them through the years. And they are just, you know, twice as aggravating, twice as long to work on anything, on these things. And so, you know, love-hate relationship, I should say. Now, I'm going to get you a bunch of videos of riding it, and we're going to take all those trips. And so this is more or less just the introduction. So I believe right now her name is Ruby Rose. That's what we came up with, and nicknamed Rosalind from character in the movie American Hustle. And so that's it for now, the name. But like I say, I'm not sure I doubt I'm gonna stick with this paint forever. I don't know. It's in such good shape. The other thing is, obviously, they either broke or lost this one. Top to that side saddlebag there. So I don't know if I'm gonna paint it or what I'm gonna do there. We'll see. We'll figure something out on that. So okay, guys, I'm rambling on, and I've pretty much forgot everything I told you, so I'm probably starting to tell it to you over, but just stay tuned. This is the introduction video. I'm going to take it for a ride, see if I can get a ride in here here in a little bit and do at least get one ride in before I put this video up, and maybe we'll have a video of riding it too along with this video. Okay guys, I'm probably boring you to death at this point, but if you're a Goldwing lover, especially the vintage Goldwings, then you're enjoying this video, seeing this thing. And that's going to be about it for now. I could talk about it all day probably, and we'll talk more about it. Like I say, I never pictured myself owning a Goldwing, and well, I actually kind of like it. All right guys, stay tuned for more.
Mm-hmm.